We're live.
We're live on Facebook. Yay. So Robin and Kim here with a special guest, and we are going to be talking about National Men's Health Month this month. And this week is actually next National Men's Health Week. So we're really excited to have David Key on to talk to us, more about men's health. And the theme for this year's Men's Health Month is closing the empathy gap. And what that means is just fostering more conversation, open and honest conversation about men's health, because I feel like I know my husband will not prioritize his health unless I make him. So that's one thing I know. Men aren't as maybe progressive about taking care of themselves as their wives are, but that's why they have us. So anyway,
Truth.
I'm going to let Robin introduce David, because David is her friend, and we'll go from there.
All right. So everyone, this is David Key. I work with David. We teach fitness classes. I have subbed for him in the past. He has subbed for me in the past. And we both have a passion for fitness and helping others and positivity. So anyway, that's why Kim and I thought he'd be the best person to bring on for Men's Health. And look at him. I mean, come on, the epitome of a man. So
Well,
anyway, I'll just
David,
tell you a little bit, yeah, about David. So he has 30 years of experience. He is an ex Michigan football player. Sorry, Buckeyes. He is an ex NFL player as well. He was in the league for a few years. So he is also well, headed up fitness classes, fitness facilities, and runs his own fitness business online. Correct, David? Is
exactly.
some of
Online, in
it's in
person.
person too.
Absolutely.
Some of it's in person as well. So um, you could tell us a little bit about that, but we do have a couple questions to ask you prior. So about Men's Health, our main question that the both of us had, and it was funny because Kim had texted me and said, "Hey, we need to ask him this question." I said, "That's hilarious," because I already wrote that down. Because like she said, we as wives like want our husbands to get fit, and it's tough to get them like motivated the way I guess that we want them to be motivated. So anyway, so our question for you is, what are the top three things men should be doing right now in order to optimize their health?
Absolutely. And I commonly do a speech that I call the tripod of fitness, just to get people watered down into a base understanding of what you actually need to do now. Of course, information, there's a plethora of it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation. I commonly tell trainers, if you can't explain it to a third grader, you have no idea what you're talking about. So, keeping it super simple, everybody realizes that you need to eat properly. All right. Everybody realizes that, hey, I need to be moving and working out, but that third leg is your rest. And one of the things that I preach is that if your tripod is unbalanced, you can't possibly sustain any type of results. More importantly, I don't know about you, I want to make sure that every single step that I take, every effort that I make in working out, that I want to get full benefit from. If I am sleep deprived, if I haven't hydrated enough from a diet standpoint, if I'm doing a wrong style of workout, obviously I'm spinning my wheels a bit and making my program less effective. Now, having said that, the absolute most important variable to any exercise program is your frequency. One of my favorite stats in fitness is that if you are accumulating 60 minutes of exercise per week, yes, I said per week, you lower your rate of heart disease and diabetes by 150%. There's your number one and two killer right there.
Right.
Just by, and everything counts. That's the thing I love about exercise. I joke with my clients, all those old adages of parking further than a lot, taking the stairs when make sure you do some ambi. All that stuff works. At the end of the day, it still
Yep.
comes back to input, output. I want to make sure that I'm accumulating those calories throughout the day. Plus, one thing we absolutely know is your lower intensity exercise where you burn the most body fat. In fact, 80% of the fat that we burn every day is burnt when you're doing absolutely nothing. We want to focus on that 80%, not just working myself into, because there are going to be days where obviously you can't work out. A huge secret now, getting into some fitness theories. One of the things that I almost always try to do, especially if we're trying to lose weight, is get your basal metabolism to equal your diet. Your basal metabolism is literally how many calories it takes to keep you alive. If I can do that and take care of all my calories just in sustaining life, everything I do is coming out of my reserve tank, especially those
Mhm.
lower intensity
Mhm.
exercises. So again, that's that 80% number, which is primarily of that 80% number, about 60% of that 80 is just your body having to regulate your temperature. Right? It takes a tremendous amount of energy every day just to keep you at 90. It was 98.6. I should know that right off the rip.
Yeah.
But exactly. But little things like that. Again, and my background is in kinesiology. So my view into training is a little bit different. Kinesiologists, we like to say that we're training from inside out, not workload training from outside in. So we're taking a lot of different variables, many of which that I just gave you, in order to develop a exercise program, make it fit into your lifestyle, not vice versa. That's a big mistake that people make. Hey, I want to get in shape. Oh, let me go back and do all those things the last time I was in shape. Hormonally, that
Right.
window is closed. Now, you may see some results with it, but if you want to optimize your results, those workouts need to change as you progress in maturity. Notice I did not say getting older. We are progressing in
Well, I think
maturity.
that was one of our questions too. Like, how do you treat people as they progress? So
Absolutely.
how
Absolutely.
does it change? How does it change?
Absolutely. And granted, everybody arrives differently. For example, I have some T-shirts that say it's strange being the same age as old people, because all of us sitting here are mature enough. We can go and through your high school yearbook, people you grew up with that are your age, but they're walking around like they're 90 years old. And it's completely, obviously, from probably lack of movement for a variety of different reasons. But at the end of the day, everybody should be
Yeah.
able to get some kind of movement. Even if you're immobile with your legs, there are all kinds of things that we can do from a strength training standpoint that can help speed your metabolism up.
Wow.
Yep.
Love
Yep.
that.
Hmm.
So Kim, you had a couple other questions.
Yes, I had a couple questions. It was interesting what you're saying when you look at the yearbook, and I have my 50th high school reunion this year coming up. And I'm like, I'm excited about it, of course, to see people, but I know it'll be different levels of health-wise, because
Hmm.
different choices, different whatever's gone on in your background. So, but I want to ask you about supplements. Do you recommend any supplements, or do you?
I do. I am very heavy on supplementation. And the first thing when I start talking about supplementation is try to make sure people have a proper working definition of what that is. There are no magic pills. No
Yeah.
supplement should be replacing what you eat. And supplement is in the word, should supplement what you're doing, not being that replacement for what you're doing. So a couple of things that really work well for men and women. Creatine, which is probably the most studied supplement on the market.
Yeah.
Got to get creatine in your body. When we look at all these longevity studies, of course, the biggest suggestion, of course, make sure you're doing some kind of strength training. More specifically, there is a direct correlation between your longevity and how strong your legs are. I'm not sure if you guys
Yes.
are familiar with blue zones. We
Mhm.
look at all of
Yeah.
those studies where communities have a lot of centurions, and those common denominators pop out every single time. I'm
Yeah.
waiting on the second version of that book to go in different places that where people are living unhealthy, uh, i.e., in the United States, to make sure that we're cross-referencing that information to make sure that it is actually accurate. But it stands to reason. One of the being in the fitness industry right now is you are going to be guaranteed employment, in my opinion, over the next 10, 15 years. You look at the number of
Hmm.
people that are on drugs like Ozempic. Unfortunately, 80% of the weight loss that they are experiencing are coming from muscle.
I know
That's a problem.
that is a
Uh,
problem.
from a
Yep.
morbidity standpoint, when we look at, let's say you are a man or woman at your ideal weight and height, what is suggested, that's a whole nother sermon. We could preach about that for a whole podcast. If we take that individual and they are not exercising, they have a higher morbidity rate than a person that is clinically obese, smoking, drinking too much, not getting enough sleep, but exercising consistently.
Mhm.
That's
That
crazy.
person will
Yeah.
outlive the individual that's doing it all right, has a great diet at their ideal height and weight, but is not exercising. Common denominator, move your body, it will reward you. No
Yeah.
doubt about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that, especially about the
Absolutely.
creatine monohydrate. Like that is, and I've been taking that as, and they're saying it's great for older women, for brain cognition as well. And
Absolutely.
leg strength, and you probably read this study, leg strength is also an indicator of a healthy brain as well. So
Okay.
stronger legs equals healthier brain.
That is very good. I tell you another supplement also, since it is Men's Health Month,
Yeah.
another great one. I tell guys, especially for your sexual health, get yourself on a beet supplement, one that has a high nitric count.
Oxide. Yeah.
And yes, there is a root that comes out of Africa and Asia called Tongat Ali. Uh, I almost push that on people. I might as well be a supplement dealer because if, speaking of married men live longer because they have wives at home that are encouraging them, but also you're dependent upon your love language, that can add to your longevity too. Tongat Ali will make that particular relationship a lot more, let's say, healthier.
So,
Well, I'll
so
tell you what, you'll have to give us those links to what you're
Absolutely.
talking
yeah.
about, and we'll
Absolutely.
put it in the comments.
Awesome.
Yeah. Is it beetroot? Is that beetroot you're talking about?
Yes, and there are several different kinds. Of course, the natural sources are the best, and there are plenty other things. A lot of your fruits and vegetables, which also can up your count. Watermelon in particular. But at
Hmm.
any case, you want to be able to expand those capillaries, keeping your circulation good. Consider that your heart is only about as big as your fist, but it's working through 1,800 miles of blood vessels. Give it some
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, I was having some issues with my blood pressure about 4 or 5 months ago. So get on a different supplement to expand capillaries, instantly back to normal. So is there a
Oh,
lot
good.
of different things. Speaking of which, in that tripod of fitness with your nutrition, by far the most important variable is your hydration. Got to do it. Most people, if they would just drink more water, they would be infinitely healthier. And then think about how water works in your body. Of course, it's your transport system, gets all your nutrients to different places, handles the viscosity of your blood. If your blood is like sludge, you can't hardly get as much oxygen in there.
Yep.
It will steal it from your brain fluid, from your muscles, your workouts, your thinking is not as clear. Though your body's absolute favorite place, favorite aquifer to go get water, it will dip into your colon and kidneys and take that dirty water and recirculate it back through your system. I live right behind a hospital. There are at least 5 or 6 people that pop in there every day for toxemia because basically they've been drinking toilet water all day long. So I typically
Ew.
give that to my athletes exactly. So and not just sipping it, you're drinking it, you're taking shots of it every single minute of the day. So
Yeah.
hydration and plus if you are just 1% dehydrated, that has a 10% effect on your cardiovascular system. So,
Yep.
I'll talk to a client, hey, I see you did an hour on, or they'll say, hey, I did an hour on the elliptical, test that water. Oh, no, you actually got about 50 minutes out of
Hmm.
that thing
Hmm.
because you're dehydrated. So again, making sure we are maximizing every single effort that we take, being mindful of making sure that you are either exercising consistently or accumulating that exercise, which is quite frankly almost as good.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. I appreciate that. Do you have any other supplements you want to talk about?
Ooh, man, there are many. I always suggest that a person should be on, have some type of go-to for your protein, just to gap fill if you're not getting enough. I suggest, particularly for women, you want to make sure you are somewhere north of 100 grams of protein per day. Sounds like a lot, but that is only 400 calories of protein. Some people prefer to count
Yeah.
that in calories a little bit easier. In addition to that, just consider that a calorie is not a calorie. Um, if I ingest 100 calories of a carbohydrate, just to run that through my system, of course, every system we run, your body's got to spend calories. 100 calories of a carbohydrate, I need about 4 to 6 of those calories to burn that 100. With a protein, I need 30 out of 100. So you can
Hmm.
essentially cut your calories without eating less, give your body more protein synthesis, make it work harder. That is a surefire way to speed that metabolism up.
Yep.
Also, eating more times per day. Again, running that digestive system. Same amount of food, just break that into as many small meals as you can. I compare this like throwing kindling on a fire all day long. Instead of a big log, letting it burn down, by the time you get to that next log to throw on, you don't have enough inertia with your metabolism to sustain it. But if I'm throwing kindling all day long, keeping that fire hot, I can throw almost anything on that fire and it's going to burn it up, which is a good excuse to add a
Yep.
cheat meal one time per week.
That's
Yeah.
funny. So, David, I want to ask you, like, what do you think if a 50, 60, 70-year-old man wants to come and get fit, work with you? What do you find is the biggest struggle that men have?
Asking for help, to be quite frank. You know,
Like
men
asking for
never read the
directions.
directions, never ask for the help. Same way, same way with fitness, or somehow feel like either they can do it better or they don't want to be embarrassed by asking help.
Mm,
It usually floats right in between there. So typically, obviously the industry is dominated by women. I probably have about twice the number of men as most trainers. So for
Mm.
some reason, guys don't mind coming to me, which I don't mind at all.
well, that's awesome. Well, that speaks well that they want you, your personality, everything you project is positive, and yeah, they want to be around that. I think that's very
Well,
cool.
I jokingly tell, well, I commonly get credit for my discipline, and I quickly correct people. It's not my discipline; it's the accountability. I can't be running around telling people what to do and not practicing what I'm preaching. So, and
Yep.
Right.
plus they make me work out of my job, so I'm kind of forced to do it.
Yeah. Wow.
So what do you tell them when they come to you to reassure them
Yep.
or to make them feel comfortable? What what
And
what tools do you use?
yeah, and I typically I try to put people at ease. Of course, the biggest hurdle for most is their diet, or they feel like you've got to pull them into the gym and beat them up in order to get
Hmm.
results. One of the things that I see way more results with varying intensity. We're back to that physiology kind of method where we have this what I call a Western mentality of thinking every time I get in the gym, I got to work a little bit harder, a little bit harder.
Hmm.
That is a road to burnout and injury.
Yeah.
Mm,
Right
Yep.
now, a more of a Eastern style of training where and this is something I employ almost 100% of the time. Where we start out, we make it easy, keeping in mind that anything you do right now, we're going to get some tremendous results over. So I don't have to beat you up. I just need to make you enjoy your workout. That next grouping of workouts going to be a little bit more intense based upon how your body advances. That third set of workouts, we're going to push the limit a bit. See what you can handle. Try to push the envelope in your conditioning. After that hard workout, we're coming back to an easy workout, a
mm,
recovery. But that next easy is going to be a little bit more difficult than your previous easies. So eventually, your easies will be greater than your previous hards, but to you, they're going to feel easy. Makes sense.
yeah.
So
Right. So
more of a
always a
slower start.
challenge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So give the
Yeah.
body time to recover. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
people need to realize that when we get results is when you are resting. If you don't
Yeah.
take time to rest, you will
Right.
not get a quality result. Got
Yeah.
it. And that's
Yeah.
hard to get in our heads because constantly that big box that we call a television is reinforcing wrong information. So even when a person has that, I get asked those questions continually over and over again because of misinformation. One of these days we're going to fix it. I don't think that's going to be any day soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I like how you explained that because I feel like we do want to do progressive overload, but
Yeah,
if you don't have that time to kind of come back a little bit and then
exactly.
rebuild, it makes it easier. It seems easier because you've already built on what you've already done. So
Exactly.
you still get the progressive overload, which that's great. I think that's
Absolutely.
wonderful. So I have one more question.
Sure.
So I want to know what position you played in football.
I was a defensive back, very heavily recruited out of high school as a running back. And when I saw the opportunity to not have people hit me and get to hit somebody, I jumped in. So,
That's
Favorite
awesome. That's
defensive
awesome.
back. That's cool. Yeah.
absolutely. But I was fortunate enough to be on some really good football teams. And we had my unit, we were the best secondary in the country 3 years in a row. And of course, you know the way those football bonds go, those are locked in for life. So
That's
Yeah.
it was
awesome.
really, really great experience for me.
Now, what years were you at Michigan then?
So I was at Michigan, let's see, 86 to 1990. Played
Okay,
for
86 and 90.
Coach Schembechler his last 4 years. A lot of people are familiar with the old
Yeah.
man, as we affectionately called him.
Yeah.
That's
Let's see.
awesome.
Well, everybody knows that name. So
Yeah, absolutely. Good deal.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Go ahead,
David,
Robert.
is there anything else you want to add, like
Wow.
to Men's Health Month?
Ooh, you know me.
To
I could,
anything that you'd like
yes.
to get out there?
Also, one of the things I advocate is when you go to the doctor, take somebody with you and make sure you know where your numbers are between your cholesterol, your body
Good.
composition, your
Yep.
your blood pressure. Because heck, you can't quality control and fix anything if you're in denial about what is broken. And
Yep.
for most men, once they jump that hurdle, it's either a scare tactic or I better do something about this right now. So you got to get a man, in my opinion, in an analytical head to get him to move.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that is a good way to do it because now I have statistics that support what you should do. And again, getting away from thinking I got to beat myself up and focusing on the frequency of your exercise rather than the intensity.
Do you
I'm so
find when
glad you brought that up.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm so glad you brought that up because so many men, no offense, don't like to
Mhm.
go to the doctor.
That's
And
right.
they don't go to the doctor.
Mhm.
So yeah, sorry, Kim, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I forgot what I was gonna uh, do you oh gosh, what was it? Do you find when you get former athletes, are they harder or easier to train, do you find?
Yeah, that typically is easier
Okay.
and easier to get results, especially one of the first things that I do when I do an evaluation is build what I call a fitness profile. Just having done it for 30 years, what I'm looking for is patterns and lifestyles so that I can anticipate how that person's body now. Once you've done it 10,000 times, when they say 10,000 hours is a doctorate, well, shoot, I've got about 4 or 5 of those in my back pocket if that's the case. So, but it's interesting how over time you see similar patterns. Okay, I know what to do with that one. And then,
Hmm.
then today again, back to that basal metabolism for anybody that wants to change their body composition. How we arrive there has everything to do with what you've done in the past. Now, between the athletes, easier, but the absolute easiest when I see somebody coming in that has not done any exercise. I love that. But now I
Yeah.
can totally get off script. All I need to do again is get that person to enjoy their work. We're going to have fun. We're going to have a few conversations. I'm going to get to know you a little bit better. By the end of wow, that was easier than I thought it was. Good. There's the desired effect right there.
That's cool.
And
Yeah.
I can tell all of you all that what he is saying right now and the way that you are perceiving him is totally David. Because when I go in and sub for him, I hear the best things about this guy from all of his people. They trust in him. He treats them great. He respects them. So what you're saying is true. So, and he knows what he's doing. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you hopping on here, our little tiny little podcast that we like to put out once a week, our little health chat. We appreciate it. We wanted a man's man for our Men's Health Month, and I think we got it. If anyone has questions, make sure that you post them in the comments, and we'll also have you, David, in the comments put like some of the links to those supplements you talked about. We really appreciate having you here. And Kim, do you want to sign us off with your
Yeah.
favorite saying?
Yes. I just want to say thank you for joining us. Have fun and live young, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thanks
Right.
for having
All
me.
right.
I will come
You're
back
welcome.
anytime you guys need me.
Yay. Good.
All right.
We love
Thanks.
that. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.